This is a figurine of Kuko. Kuko is a teenage schoolgirl from one of my favorite animes of all time, and my childhood crush.
Okay.
However, somewhere along the way, we somehow went from this to this.
And what the f is you talking about?
What's that?
If it wasn't made clear enough, that was a 12-year-old girl. In the past few years, the popularity of gacha games in China has absolutely skyrocketed. And with its success, we've slowly witnessed a new genre of questionable, controversial, and borderline disgusting content being developed. Yes, we're talking about the sexualization of children in gacha games.
Two Blue Archive students go into heat.
What did he say?
While mainstream AAA titles like Genshin, Wuwa, and Honkai do a relatively good job at separating the use of children and the sexualization of women, which is an entirely different issue in and of itself.
The last thing they're thinking of when they see us is sex. Trust me.
Many smaller B and C title developers have recognized how large of a market this really is and have began releasing games with questionable character designs, especially surrounding the use of underage children.
What do you mean by that?
Take Zenless Zone Zero as an example, one of the most popular gacha games in China right now. And when it was first released, it had 6 characters that were designed to be children, which there's nothing inherently wrong with, until you realize part of this group consists of virtual idols, which consists of 3 kids dressed in corsets, miniskirts, and thigh-high stockings. Yeah, look, I think we can both see the problem here.
Leave me alone!
Now, I want to make it very clear that I'm purposely separating the games from the players themselves. On one hand, some developers, Hoyo, are guilty of purposely sexualizing children in order to cater for certain audiences. But on the other hand, there is also a small subset of players who genuinely enjoy and consume this sort of disgusting content.
Yanagi's milk output. Formula included for your own calculation.
What?
Look, I wish I am joking when I say this, but there are literally videos on top Wuthering Waves waifus you should edge to, Zenless Zone Zero bust size comparison, and can you drink Cantrella's milk in Wuthering Waves?
You drink Cantarella's milk from a calcium cannon?
One more time?
Anything under 100 milliliters or a third of a can of Coke is considered relatively safe.
God have mercy upon us.
The problem is a significant amount of gacha games are explicitly written, marketed, and designed as children, with characters aged anywhere from 8 to 17 while simultaneously rendered with adult-coded and highly sexualized aesthetics.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the f is that?
You've got childlike characters in miniskirts, crop tops, and latex thongs? Yeah, these people need therapy. Or prison. Maybe both.
I said, God help me.
The sexualization of underage children in these video games has gotten so bad that you've now got public fan forums and YouTube videos that are specifically curated to showcase these characters in provocative poses, where their ultimate ability revolves around them bending over. What the f? And if you thought for a second that was bad, just wait until you open up the comment section. She's getting it either way. Granny got that bakery and love has no boundaries.
That was ticking in my heart. Changed my state of mind when love's so hard to find.
This trend has become so popular, there's even a term being used around the gacha and anime community for these representations. Lolly complex, which refers to child-coded characters that are often depicted in an endearing or more disturbingly a sexualized way.
I think I've seen this film before, and I didn't like the ending.
And before you come at me and say, you don't understand Chinese and Japanese culture, shut the f up. I was watching the likes of Bakugan and Reborn since I was a kid, and in those times, the sexualization of children and women were nowhere as bad as it is today.
First one being the lolly category. Everyone in this category are children. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't care if their canonical age is 500. That's a fucking toddler.
What is that? What the is that?
If anything, the way that we've perpetuated the normalization of these sort of up things is not okay. Take Blue Archive as an example, a massively popular gacha RPG that takes place in a school setting. Not off to a great start, are we? The characters in Blue Archive are explicitly represented as students. They have homework assignments, report cards, and the entire world building is structured around the fact that these are children, literal children in an academic institution. And for a game that's meant to be developed on the foundations of teenage girls at school, why the f do we have this? I want you to take a look at that and look me dead in the eyes and tell me that this character was designed specifically with education purposes as top of mind. And the scary thing is, she is just one character of many others who are the exact same.
Oh no. Okay.
Brother, what's that?
If you scroll through the Blue Archive character roster, you will find variation after variation of the same formula. Childlike features, school setting, and adult costume design. If you have any brain cells, I think we can come to the same conclusion here.
Something wrong? Patrick? You're sweating.
The sexualization of children in gacha games has gotten so bad that the Chinese Gaming Authority had to step in and apply censorship to some of the characters. Let that sink in for a second. My homie Xi Jinping and the Chinese Communist Party have come together to both realize how f***ed up this shit really is. You know you're cooked when the CCP out of everyone is the voice of reason. Now, I am going to make a very generalized and controversial statement that is more than likely going to get me cancelled. But I'm going to say it anyway. There is no world where the sexualization of children, even in video games, is remotely okay. And if you think otherwise, you need to belong on one of these.
Housing for registered sex offenders.
We all know the type of audience that consumes this sort of disgusting content, and we also understand why developers want to continue to cater to their disgusting and disturbing fantasies.
Hey, kitten, how was school today?
That being said, it's important to approach this topic with a level of nuance because it's not as black and white as many netizens make it out to be. Gacha games are a billion-dollar industry in China, and developers have very real incentives to create characters and designs that connect with their audience. Look, I get it. Go get your bread, king. But at the end of the day, there is absolutely no excuse that allows these people to continue creating content and designs that cater specifically to the childlike aesthetic so that creepy gooners online can continue to consume and enjoy this f***ed up content. I mean, just take a look at this video.
Can I beat ZZZ while beating myself?
I will be playing Zelda Zone Zero with one hand and jorking it with the other. And jorking it with the other.
Just to be clear, this video has 350,000 views, which, to put into context, is more views than ZZZ's biggest update of 2026. At this point, I swear to God, these people aren't even embarrassed anymore. We have videos like how sweaty are Yishuan's armpits and why does Chingy's cake jiggle when she's a robot in ZZZ. At some point, you have to respect the creativity, but I need to ask the question, where the f do these people come up with these sort of ideas?
So that's when the idea hit me. Is it possible to beat the game using your DIH?
He didn't just say that.
DIH.
On the other hand, if you spend any amount of time in the gacha communities online, Reddit, Twitter, Discord, you will find a plethora of individuals that continue to aggressively defend the sexualization of child-coded characters as a cultural norm and expectation of the industry.
Now I'm a pedophile, sir.
They argue that because it's a game and things in games aren't real, that it doesn't actually make them children. Hey, let me tell you something. If it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and moves like a duck, it's probably a duck.
Children.
You cannot, for the life of me, design a character established on the foundations of innocence and youth with childlike mannerisms and expect to shield yourself from criticism by slapping a fictional age on your Wikipedia page. Look, I get it. These are fictional characters, pixels on a screen, and nobody is being actually hurt by the design of these characters themselves. But the conversation about normalizing this sort of behavior and what we are conditioning audiences to find acceptable is one we need to have.
The sexualization is so blatant that there are two characters that have bunny suits as their default skin. Is there a lore reason why Blanc is wearing 6-inch heels in an active war zone? Is she stupid?
Are we really okay to continue perpetuating a culture that sexualizes children even if it's not real? I mean, just take a look at how f***ed up some of these comments are on Twitter.
Rock, put her in a micro bikini. Rock, cover her in white slime.
How fucking down bad can a person really be?
Oh, Burly Bear. You're so warm and cuddly.
Perhaps the most accurate quote of all time is when this Instagram user said, "These are just Guna games with jiggle physics out the wazoo." The bloke is not wrong. I have rarely seen a more well-articulated sentence. So much so that my English teacher would be proud.
You ever had a dream that you had.
Look, I am not going to sit here and make an overarching statement that playing and enjoying gacha games which sexualize children makes you inherently a bad person. I personally know a bunch of people who play Genshin and Blue Archive who are perfectly normal. Well, almost normal. What I am going to say is this. It is disgusting to see that an industry that generates billions of dollars doing nothing about gacha games that continue to design women and children with sexualized characters and then watch as predators and gooners create a culture out of this disgusting content. There are children, literal children, who download and play these games because the production quality is cinematic and the character designs look cool. Are we really okay to continue supporting and serving this f***ed up content to millions of individuals worldwide that continue to support the notion that the sexualization of the childlike innocence and youth is okay?
The picture is clear. The picture is clear. The picture is clear.
Okay. Look, at the end of the day, I might just stick to Kuko because the alternative is top Wuthering Waves waifus you can edge to.
こんな格好